We'll always know what we're thinking. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's workshop. We are talking about there we go. Gut health. We've got bloating to talk about. We definitely have poop to talk about. If you're uncomfortable, just shut off your camera. It's cool. But I do want you to listen because this is crucial. There's certain parts of our body that tell us what we need to know about the inside of our body and what is going on. Poop is one of those things. And we're going to be talking about it today. We're also going to let you walk away with 3 holistic solutions that we have found that really help ourselves, help our clients, help people we run into in the grocery store. So let's get to it, shall we? This workshop is all about conquering gut discomfort, gut dysfunction. Now, you may not see it as dysfunction, but I'm guessing discomfort, ill ease, dis-ease, those ringing a bell? If that feels like, okay, maybe we're here, then great. You are in the right place. My name is Bonni and Highs. I am one half of the founding partnership for Wild Free Health. And my other half is here, KJ Peace. You'll be hearing from her as well. And I'm so excited to have you here. So whether you're tuning in from your kitchen, from your living room, from work, from your car, or even from your bathroom, I am so glad that you are here and I'm so glad you're listening. And I hope you're ready for some life-changing tips. So let's get into it, shall we? Little housekeeping. Pay attention is crucial to any up-leveling, right? So cut off those notifications, focus in. Let's really get you some tips and tools and tricks that will help you feel better today so that you don't have to deal with this anymore. And maybe you can start healing a little bit. So turn off the notifications, shut down all the tabs. You and me, let's chat. Got it? All right, we're going to start focusing on you. We're going to start focusing on your tummy and making sure your tummy feels better because after all, this is a tummy tune-up. Your gut goes through various phases. And for me, and I'm going to let KJ introduce herself and tell her story in just a sec. For me, I've gone through several different rounds of this. And I found that the things that I recommend to my clients always help me. One of the most impactful was when I was trying to figure out what I was reacting to. It turns out it was dairy. I threw myself a nice little year-long temper tantrum, which resulted in a lot of issues, a lot more issues than I started with the year before. I sounded like a choo-choo train. I could clear rooms. I mean, my stomach hurt with everything that I ate. And it turns out I still was only reacting to dairy. But because my stomach was so out of balance, I couldn't tell that. It felt like everything I ate was causing me issues. Everything I ate was making me sick. I was exhausted. And I was a professional fitness trainer. It was full time. I ran running groups. I was working with Biggest Loser. I planned half marathons and marathons and helped coach people through those. I ran those. I participated in them as not only a coach, an organizer, a manager and director of them, and as a participant. Yet my stomach was in a lot of distress. And once I finally woke up partly with the help of KJ here, she was one of the people that said, dude, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Can we chat and fix this? And when we finally did, what it entailed is me listening to my own advice. And today I can tell you, despite fertility treatments with all those hormones back and forth, stress, and the joy of having twins at an older age, perimenopause, and I mean, can we add anything more to that? My stomach is very happy with me today, but daily practices, it's where it's at. So I am going to let KJ take over from here and introduce herself, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of this.
Hey, B, good to be here. I am, as Bonnie said, I am KJ Peace. My realization that my bad tummy wasn't just something I inherited from my mother who had major stomach troubles my as long as I knew her. Might have something to do with something that I was doing. Like it couldn't all be just genetics. Um, and Bonnie sort of would look at me and go, seriously? Um, but I was in Florida and I was taking my dad had died and I was taking care of my elderly mom, trying to keep her in some sort of stable range, trying to feed her foods that she would eat that were healthy. But I kept having these bizarre rashes that would not stop itching. And they would show up in the same spot in cycles. And I would get these massive stomach aches. I don't mean like, oh, gassy feet. I mean like the pit of my stomach felt like somebody had just hit me and held their fist in the middle of my stomach. Just high level pain. Finally got a doctor to listen to me to say, when I said, this isn't normal, this is not real. He sent me to an allergist because of the rash. She looked at me and she said, you know what? We're going to figure out what is causing this, but I think it's probably causing that too. So we had done the elimination stuff. We had worked through all that stuff, and I still kept triggering on things because all the things that are commonly causing those things weren't causing those things for me. So allergy testing got me to the point that I found out that I am allergic to egg whites. Okay, that was kind of weird out of left field, but I'm also allergic to peppers. Now, I don't like bell peppers, never like bell peppers, don't like the way they smell. I was like, yes, I never have to eat bell peppers again. And it took me from that moment through conversations with the doctor out to my car for my brain to go, you realize she said eggs and peppers, so you're never having a like a fast food type, a random quick breakfast taco again. So it took me all of 2.5 minutes to go from being excited to being so bummed. Like now I had an answer-ish, but I also had something that was really going to screw up this Texas girl's life. Like breakfast tacos, I kept them in the freezer. Like they're my go-to protein because I'm terrible about getting enough protein in my body. Always had them on hand. What I did was freak out, right? Had a little bit of a moment. And then the next week, a hurricane wiped out my whole community. So then I really didn't have a whole lot of choices. I didn't have all the foods at home to tempt me because I didn't have a home to tempt me. So what I had was I had a cell phone, I had things that I could get to easily, I had a hotel room, and I had Bonnie. And we started piecing together ways that I could still meet those nutritional goals to support my body because I forget to eat and avoid the things that were going to make me feel miserable. Um, I accidentally got into something the other day, not realizing, must have had paprika in it. I don't know. But I had a stomach ache for 2 days. This many years down the road, it still causes that reaction. So what it made me do is it made me appreciate all the daily work that we do, all the things we put in place. So that's not my day-to-day existence. I specialize with senior nutrition because of people like my mom who could have avoided those massive panic attack looks where she's got to get to the bathroom now because she's got all these things going on. And as you get older, the internal sphincter, not just your external, but your internal ones lose their muscle strengthens. So you have a lot more of those, oh, now it's now or never moments. If everything is going the way it's supposed to from here down, when it's down at the other end, we don't have as many of those crisis moments. Um, I can't imagine how horrifying it must be to be an older person and realize that You're looking at your kid or somebody your kid's age, and you're looking at them going, okay, I just pooped in my pants. And if we can practice these daily things with with the probiotics, with feeding our gut, with eating the things that feed the good bugs in our system and let them do their job, then we don't have as many opportunities for that to happen, right? It's like the thing about if somebody bumps you and coffee goes all over you because that's what you're carrying in your cup. Well, you got coffee all over you because what was in your cup was coffee. So if your sphincter is going to be crazy, okay, but if you've got a good system going there, when you got to go, you got to go. But maybe it's not something that's going to be embarrassing and a mess for you to have to kind of deal with both physically and emotionally. So anything I can do to help, my folks, and I got to tell you guys a true story about me. I'm a grocery cart returner. And I go to the grocery store, and if I see somebody that are done with their cart, I'll grab their cart. And my son asked me the other day, he goes, "Oh, why do you always do that?" I said, "Just, I always try to help the little ladies out that look like so they don't have to walk across the parking lot." And he goes, "You get that you're a little old lady, right?" So at 60, apparently I'm a little old lady, but that makes me the senior health specialist that we've got. So anything I can do to help anybody of any age, I'd love to because that's my jam. I'm a teacher, but especially if you've got some senior nutrition things, if you got a senior tummy going on, we can work on that. Your metabolism is different from what it was when you were 20. Let's just play with that and keep poop where it needs to be.
We're big on keeping it where it needs to be and having some sense of control. And that kind of brings us into, so I want you guys to think about a time that was really challenging for you. So for me, I remember a picnic I went to, and it was at one of my client turned friends' houses, and I loved her. I loved her dad. He was amazing. Everybody just called him dad. He was wonderful. It was his 90th birthday, and we're all sitting around this table, and it was a picnic table. So, you got to climb in and climb out, right? And we're on this bench, and I'm in the middle between about three or four on each side. And I couldn't get out of the picnic table, but I had to get going. I had to go. And I don't know what she put in the food that I ate, but she knew about the dairy issues I was having. And I don't, it's never anybody else's responsibility in my eyes. So please don't get me wrong. But she had said something about these foods are safe, and I don't think those foods were safe because that was one of the last incidents that happened before I woke up to reality. And I think that was the story I was telling either KJ or was telling somebody else that ended up calling me out the same week. Um, all about, this incident where I'm stuck. I had eaten something that obviously made me sick almost instantly. I had to run and go, and I made it, barely, but I made it. And you get stuck in these situations and you get stuck in these cycles. And the very first thing I want to start with before we get into nuts and bolts of this is it is not your fault. There are a lot of things that put us on this roller coaster. Our food system, messages that were sent and told by our doctors, by our nurses, by society, that today's food is not the same. Just to give you an example, my mom is obsessed with giving my kids SpaghettiOs, right? SpaghettiOs, but she calls them SkettiOs because that's what my brother called them. And in 1985, 86, when he was eating SpaghettiOs, it was tomato sauce and meat and pasta. No big deal, right? Have you looked at the jar or the can recently? It is not just sauce and meat and pasta. There's so much more in it that doesn't need to be in it, but it makes manufacturing cheaper. It makes production cheaper. It makes it more shelf stable. So now our food system is helping to contribute to a lot of the things that we're doing. And when we're taught that these things are healthy, and it's drilled into us from either past generations or people who are not educated on nutrition, because our doctors learn to be doctors. They learn to be doctors. They aren't given, I mean, when I got my degree, the amount of nutrition shoved down my throat, chemistry from biochemical reactions of food within the body, but that was my focus. That this is my area of expertise. So when you are off getting a board certification or you're earning an education of any kind in a field, you dive deep into that field. Our doctors are trained to be doctors. They're trained to help us out of illness. They're trained to help us when we need surgery, when we have things that are very seriously impacting the health of our body. They don't necessarily have the level of education and experience with diet and the human body that somebody like KJ or I would. It is not their fault. It is not your fault for not knowing. You're here because you want some answers. You want something that's going to help. So rather than staying on this roller coaster, the number one thing that will help you is a little bit of education, and you'll get there. You'll get there through a process of healing your gut and getting that balance back. You get as much education as you need to make sure that you can effectively and efficiently manage your health and wellness and your family's rather easily. You implement a couple of daily practices in, go through the process of healing your gut, and towards the end, what ends up happening is long-term wellness and health that ebbs and flows the same way life does. Because when we get hit in the gut, human beings get hit in the gut. And you always want something to fall back on. And how much easier on your brain is it to fall back on something that feels natural, that feels familiar, and quite frankly, is so simple? It's easy to step back into that lifestyle. That's a lot of the messaging that we share here. So now we can talk about constipation, we can talk about diarrhea all day long, but we're not going to go there. We're going to start off with some solutions. So if you're nodding, if you're chuckling, then you're definitely in the right place. So let's talk about some solutions. So diet and nutrition adjustments, not necessarily just lifestyle. Lifestyle has some impact into your gut. If you move, your stomach works effectively. Your lymphatic system needs movement to take out the trash. Basically, if your body doesn't move, your lymphatic system doesn't run. You need your body to move for your lymphatic system to run. Does not mean you need to run a marathon, people. You just need to move. Just need to be active. Use a standing desk if you don't like to walk. Little things, they make a big difference. So this first tip, let's talk about how certain foods trigger issues. Have you heard of food sensitivities? I'm sure if you're sitting here, many of you have heard of them or you've experienced them. So the first step with anything happening is to figure out what's happening, what's really going on. Is it a food sensitivity, or is it that your body's out of whack? And the number one way that we do that is we actually like you to create a food log, but it's not just a food log. I don't count calories. I don't know, KJ, you don't count them either, right? And go ahead, why?
I'm of the generation that I've been able to tell you how many calories are in things for my entire life.
Mhm.
I've always known how many calories were in things and had like seriously tab um in the machine, which is the predecessor to Diet Coke, for those of you who don't know, in the machine in college, where that was breakfast. I've known how many calories are in piece of cheese, an egg, whatever is going to my face my entire life. I, I'm not, hey, I'm going to remember what time we're going to be there smart, but I'm smart.
Mhm.
And all of that smartness got me to weigh about 242 pounds by the time I was 30 years old. I knew exactly how many calories were in everything, and I knew exactly how many calories I should be burning,
Mhm.
and where all the grams of fat were, because I'm that generation too, because we had to avoid fat. Um, and yet knowing all of that gave me an upset stomach and a really oversized body. I'm 5 feet tall, you guys. 240. I was not orange, but I was pretty much an Oompa Loompa. All of the knowledge in the world that I had based on what we were taught did not help me because it was not correct. It wasn't the right choice. I wasn't giving my body time to heal. So it was always in an inflammatory state, and it was trying to grab every single bit of nutrition it could from the 800 calories I was giving it a day. And probably 800 calories of eggs and cheese if I'm being honest, right? So no, I don't count calories. I can, but I also can write a program in Fortran and use punch cards, and that's also not something that serves me in today's world. Can also dial on a rotary phone. Doesn't mean that it is the best choice in today's world, you know. So yes, I know how to do it. Do I do it today? No, no. I'm just happy. Most of the days, I'm just hoping that I get enough food in. I need to eat more. And thanks for that, Bonnie.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
How many
Yeah,
times have you looked at me and said, you need to eat more? Have you eaten today? Have you eaten today? Because that's what we do, right? Our tummies hurt, so we don't eat.
Mhm.
And we starve our bodies and we starve the little bugs that make our tummies get better. We're
Yes.
not just starving ourselves and our muscles, we're killing off the things that we need to help our tummies.
Exactly.
Yep, yep.
Exactly. And
That's
there's so many people that come to us, and it's almost, I hesitate a lot of times to say you're not eating enough, but it happens so frequently that that is almost like something we could record and push a button. You're not eating enough. Push a button. You're not eating enough. I don't want you
and
to
the
go down
apps that
that
are out
rabbit hole.
there, yeah, like the
Yeah.
food counting apps always, they turn red when you've gotten to your max. They turn red when they say, whoa, 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 you need to stop. Not, hey, they should start red and turn green when you've finally gotten enough food into your system.
Yes.
Because your
Yeah.
body has evolved specifically for one job, and that is to keep the great thing alive. That's it. And the
Yep.
body is going to hold on to every calorie and everything that it has to keep the great thing going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's several different levels of this. There is, here is your couch potato, I'm gonna stay alive. Here is your, I am living the best life I possibly can, the one that I want to live. I'm no longer struggling. I'm no longer just surviving. Now I'm actually living my life. There's a
Heck yeah.
significant difference. And a lot of the tracking apps really screw with you. And it's one of the things that we talk with all of our clients about so that you understand whatever app you're using, this is how you read it. Do not read the reds that they give you. Do not read the blues or the greens, or you read it so that it's healthy for you because it can change so much. And honestly, that is part of the reason we always start with step one, which is your log. And here's what your log needs to include. You need to include what you've eaten. We don't care how much. Don't care. Don't care what's in it. You have a vegetable soup. Don't just put vegetable soup. you you have a vegan lasagna. Just put a vegan lasagna. No big deal. We want to know what time. We want to know how you felt before, how you felt afterwards. Were there any emotions? Did you get a stuffy nose? Did your eyes water? I had a couple of weeks ago, I had a beer that I love. I love Love Street. Okay. Carbox Love Street. Love it. Sometimes I can have it. Sometimes I can't. That's my deal with gluten. Sometimes it likes me, sometimes it doesn't. Well, I go to have this Love Street. Within 2 sips, I start sneezing. And with every sip I took after that, I had a sneezing fit. And about 5 sips in, I was like, and I'm done. I'm done. This is not happening tonight. I'm over it. Um, that's what we're talking about. When we talk symptoms, when we talk emotions, we're not just talking about, oh, my stomach hurts. or I had diarrhea, or I didn't poop for 3 days. It's everything. Your mouth salivating, dry mouth when it's like 110 out, and you should be sweating your butt off and thirsty as all get out. It's those little things. We want to know those things because from our perspective, it helps KJ and I do our job, but additionally, it helps the other members of our team do their job as well. So Jill and Sam, they really work a lot on your emotional state when it comes to food, habit structure, habit building, and using various tools and their own tips and tricks to help you stay positive about it so that it's a much easier process. The whole point of everything we do is to make this a much easier process. Now, I want you to think about this for just 1 second. I did not say elimination diet. I did not say step-by-step elimination diet. And here's why. 9 times out of 10, when someone tells you that, okay, you're dealing with a gut health issue, right? Your gut's inflamed, your gut is just not happy with you. We need to do something with your tummy. Let's look at food sensitivities. Let's look at how you're reacting. Let's look at what you're eating. And we're going to do this strict elimination diet. More often than not, that causes issues. It doesn't necessarily help because you're already in distress coming into it. Now you're adding a stressor because strict anything tells our brain, go into rebel mode. And I don't know about you, but my brain's a rebel without a cause. And you tell it not to do something, it's going to immediately do everything and anything in its power to go and do that thing that you told me not to do. Our brain lies to us. That's the bottom line. It lies to us. The reality that we see, the reality that we know in our conscious brain and what our subconscious sees is what our brain interprets. To get a realistic perspective of your life, you have to have so many different perspectives. Yours, theirs, his, hers, whoever's in the ground. Like you need so many different perspectives to get true factual reality. So that's part of the reason we use the food log. You cannot lie to your brain when it is in black and white. You can't do it. So everything gets written down. Or some of my clients, they text me. I get pictures. And yes, I get pictures of poop. I ask for them. I specifically ask for them. Half the time I get them, the other half, they use the Bristol chart and they send me a number. It works. But it also gives us a chance to see what patterns there are so that when we do talk about things that we might need to remove, either for a short bet or long term, it's not a strict elimination diet. It is a strategy. And that is why step 1 in this is to figure out what the heck is going on. Start your log. You don't necessarily need to come to us. We can make it a lot easier, that's for sure. But start your log. Take a log for a good 5 to 7 days. Don't look at it until you're done. Just go about your business, do your thing. No drama here. There does not need to be any drama. There's not need to be any drastic changes. Go do you for a week. Keep it normal. Set it down if you're going to do this by yourself. Set it aside for 3 days. And then come back and review it from an outside perspective. Okay. And once you've done that, and if you don't see any patterns, give us a call. I mean, seriously, we have a free consultation for a reason. And 9 times out of 10, we're going to tell you to do the same food log. So you might as well do it. Book your appointment. Let's chat, figure out what's going on so that we can get you on a path quick. Because a lot of times what I've found in these conversations, usually about one out of 5 conversation ends up a client, not for any other reason than there's a very easy pattern that we identified. And it's not that you need to work with anybody. You just needed someone to point it out because you were too close to it. That's it. So step 1, figure out what's actually happening, what's really going on. And I want to share one of our clients. So I had a client a long time ago, and She struggled with a lot of constipation, a lot of bloating. And when the constipation eased up, she would end up in diarrhea. So it was this back and forth. Okay. She was barely able to make it through an entire day without basically coffee on an IV. Like that was her life, is coffee, food, coffee, food, coffee, food, because it was the only thing that kept her awake, right? Awake, alert. Turns out she thought she had Hashimoto's. Went to the doctor, she was diagnosed. The doctor told her that in order to manage it, she needed to just give up dairy and soy, but not gluten, right? Now, if you have Hashimoto's, if you've been through this, your doctor should be telling you to give up all three. Not one, not two, all three. An autoimmune condition, those are the three top inflammatory ingredients, right? So those three are the top that you should be told to ditch. Well, it turns out after a couple of weeks of tracking, because she didn't believe us, she didn't believe me specifically. I told her that I thought it was gluten and she did not believe me. Well, it turns out I was correct. Contrary to my sister and brother's belief, I do not like to say, I told you so. I do not like to be the one that is correct. But in this case, I was correct. She was extremely reactive to gluten. She added dairy, soy back in, no issues. Removed gluten, kept gluten out for a good 2-3 weeks, put it back in. Guess what? Issues started back up again. So for her, the only thing she needed to do was ditch the gluten and stop drinking so much coffee. But once she got rid of that gluten, her body didn't react to anything. It wasn't struggling. It wasn't trying to just survive a day. So she didn't need the coffee. It wasn't so much of a craving anymore. And she just naturally went back to drinking 1 to 2 cups a day. She had one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And it worked out well. But do you see how sometimes all it takes is tracking your stuff, seeing reality, maybe getting an outside perspective, and your issues can be resolved? Now, that's not for everybody, but part of the reason we do the free calls is so that you can come and talk to us with this information and we can help you figure out what's going on. You need help? You don't need help. Maybe you just need a quick answer like she did. Turns out she signed up for a whole program and we were done in a couple of weeks. So we figured out other things we could do that really truly helped her today. And actually, she is one of my clients. I only have a handful, but she is one of my clients who has turned into her own health coach because she was so frustrated by her experience. And now she teaches other people very similarly to the way that we do. And I'm so proud of her. And I'm very happy that she is in this realm now. We need more of us in this realm. So let's talk about solution number 2. We're going to talk mindset and visualization. And I want you to do something for me. Now, I'm going to show you a short little demo. If you're driving and you're listening to this, do not shut your eyes. Okay? Either pause this or keep listening and just go with me here. If you're not driving or doing anything that requires eyes being open, shut your eyes for a moment. And I want you to come with me into your kitchen. Imagine that you have some nice juicy lemons. I keep mine inside of the fridge, inside water, because they stay fresh longer. But where are yours? Are they outside in a nice basket? You know, nice, juicy, ripe, ready to be cut open? Grab one. Grab yourself a little cutting board, grab yourself a knife, press down on that lemon so we get it nice and juicy, because we want it. Roll it around on your cutting board, press into it, get all that juice flowing, and I want you to cut into that lemon. See all the juices flowing out of it. Now, I want you to take 1/2 of that lemon and suck on it. Taste the juice, feel the pucker. And now take a drink of water and open your eyes. How many of you felt the pucker back here? I don't have lemons. You don't have lemons. The thought of a lemon, like even talking about it, my jaw is like, it is right here. Oh, this is the power of our brain. And for those clients that we've worked with or people that we've talked to who haven't really been able to get up off the couch or do a lot, where they're so sick, they're just kind of stuck. And they're just literally trying to find enough energy to get up and go to the bathroom and come back that day. Their episodes or chronic illness or their autoimmune conditions are so bad that day, the reactions are just leaving them immobile or leaving them so exhausted, in so much pain they can't move. Visualization can completely flip the script for any of us, just like the lemon, And now every time I say lemon, your lips are going to go, oh. But this is why we use visualization, because the connection between our gut, our second brain, and our brain is very real. If your subconscious brain senses an attack, it senses something that's going to hurt you, your immune system, your little soldiers live in your gut. So your gut is triggered. Your brain talks to your brain, talks to your brain, talks to your brain. Positive affirmations, gratitude journaling, visualization exercises. So something as simple as visualizing yourself eating this wonderful tasting Buddha bowl. I used to use salad. I use Buddha bowls now because like salads have kind of become the sign of diets, and we don't do diets here. We just eat really good food. But let's look at this Buddha bowl. Buddha bowls basically, and I love Buddha bowls, you guys, slightly obsessed with a Buddha bowl. Put your rice in, put your lettuce in, put whatever veggies you love in there. Put a little bit of protein, whether it's chicken, tofu, red meat, beans. Put all your favorites in this bowl. And now I want you to have a sauce. I like spicy. So I'm going to have a nice spicy sauce all over it, right? Mix it up, make it the way that you want. Go hog wild, because our imagination, our visualization, we don't have a budget. So put all your favorites in here. How does it taste? If you can taste these foods, that visualization for even just a moment before you walk into a family gathering or you walk into your house, you're having a busy day, a stressful day, visualizing yourself eating something that is absolutely delicious, that you love, that has the sauce that you just can't stop eating. That healthier dish you just visualized, what do you think you're going to want to eat when you walk in the house or you walk in that restaurant? You're going to want something as close to this as possible. And that's why solution number 2 is mindset and visualization techniques. If you implement certain ones on a daily basis, they will help you stay balanced. Now, little story for you guys, and KJ, you're gonna laugh at me. So one of my friends, her childhood friend, is becoming a business coach. And last week she said, I need to go through and coach 50 coaches, right? I need 50 coaching sessions. And I'm like, all right, I'm always down because you never know what you're going to learn, right? Well, I have this thing called a sanity journal. And when the shit hits the fan, pun not intended, I write everything in my sanity journal so that I do not lose my shit, because I grew up in just north of DC, Maryland, DC border. I did not grow up where you take a second to breathe. I grew up where that attitude hits and it hits hard, right? So there's some regulation I've had to learn as an adult. So when the shit hits the fan, I write it all out in my journal, and then I go and I respond as an adult. As a regulated adult, not out to get anybody. I just respond, I deal with the situation, we move on, right? And it helps me really manage my stress during extremely stressful situations that life's just gonna throw at you. So we were talking about this, and we were talking about how, I started this 90-day program. It's all about your mindset with my friend Carrie. And, I'm excited to be in somebody else's program just to see how she works. And she's like, well, wait a minute. You just said you write in your journal when the shit hits the fan and it helps you feel better. And the last week or so, you felt like life is just coming together and everything's working so well. And it's just it's everything you ever wanted from your life. And you've had to write in this journal every day for your challenge. And I'm like, yeah, and just right overhead. Every day I have been helping manage my stress, helping manage my emotions by doing something that I recommend to all of my clients and writing in a journal. It is something that I did not even think about. And I felt like I had gotten to the point of I don't I don't need this every day. I just need this when life gets chaotic. And what has happened is she basically called me out and told me, "No, ma'am. That is not the case. You feel healthier, you feel more relaxed, you feel like life is on target and healthy and thriving when you do this tiny little thing." So guess what I've been doing since our session last week? These little things that you feel like aren't making a difference can make a world of difference. So now, just like the lemon, just like the Buddha bowl, your visualization activities should be things that work for you, that align with your life. If Buddha bowls aren't your thing, okay, what is? What's the healthiest version of your favorite dish? And don't get me started on pizza, because pizza can actually be made healthy. There used to be a pizza that they would put a Mexican salad on. It was delicious. I loved it. Shakey's did it. And there's no Shakey's anymore, but like it was delicious. And it was basically a taco salad on a pizza. It was
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah. Watch me reinvent the taco salad, right?
Hmm.
Right? In
Yeah.
a way that I can eat it safely, but in my like that and I'm a little human. I don't eat a whole lot at one time. So a taco salad will last me. So if I go through that process, like, okay, after working with food, having the pasta company, there's a whole lot of how can I deconstruct this
Yeah.
and reconstruct it in a way that makes me go, yeah, this is something my brain loves. My body's not going to resent, right? So everybody's on board with, hey, yeah, this is a thing. And I have ADHD. So part of my challenge is um after about 4 bites of things, especially after I planned it and cooked it, about 4 bites, my brain goes, oh, we're done. Like my brain feels like we've had an entire buffet, right? So I have to recreate these tiny meals and these tiny situations. And that's what we do, right? We know you and I have done this. I mean, luckily you have twins now, so the twins and I, we eat on basically the same schedule. Like, you want to split a sandwich with me, buddy? Okay, yeah. You want half my broccoli? Okay, good. I'm good with that, right? Hey, Keegan and I love hanging out together. Like, I'll eat half of yours. Or okay, because that's where we're done. But once my brain has decided it's done, that's a signal. And go, okay, but as long as I have access and prepared, done my meal prepping, and I've got the things there, I can make another little tiny version of that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Watch me make a taco salad with hash browns I cooked in a waffle iron.
Yep.
Okay. Because those are things that are okay for me to have. Watch me get wacky and like, oh, I can do that. But it's those skills we come together with. It's those skills that we learn by knowing that getting our heads in the right place lets us use those creative juices that we've got, right? You and I hustled an awful lot of pasta to people, didn't we? And how many times are people look at pasta and go, but but what would I do with it? Oh, hold on, right? And so it's that being able to visualize our food and walking through in our head what food is going to taste like even before we put it on a plate. That's not something everybody does, but it's a skill that most people can learn. Can practice how that is going to work out. You know these flavor profiles. Okay, see now, taste like you just threw at the lemon. Now taste that in your head. Okay, before you go to the trouble of making it, taste it in your head. Is it going to work? Let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's good you
One
brought
of the things I think people really freak out about is when they think, oh gosh, I I react to gluten or I react to dairy or peppers. And their brain goes to, oh my gosh, all of the things I can't eat. I live in a small town with small grocery stores. And if I took all of the things in that store that I can't eat, it wouldn't fill a shelf. It would not fill a shelf. If I take everything out of produce that I'm allergic to, nobody would notice. There's so much more that we can eat, no matter what we're reacting to, than we can't. But it's all a mind thing, and it's that mental imagery of abundance and 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 fulfillment, right? That's what we get to do is we get to play with our food until our tummies are happy. I love it. But yeah, and by the way, now I'm gonna have to have a taco salad for lunch here in just a few minutes.
I'm
But
making
I have ground
oh,
chicken thawing out, so we're gonna get creative with that. I may do some version of like a smash burger taco salad thing. I
there
have an avocado in the fridge, so there you go.
you go.
Yeah,
There you It's perfect. And then
yeah.
all this talk about food takes us to our third solution, which is gut-friendly supplements and hydration. Now, I want to make something very clear. When I'm talking supplementation, part of my background is herbal medicine. I look at food first, herbs second, supplementation third. If your gut's in stress, it's distress, it's not balanced, it's screaming for help, you might need to take some capsules, but I suck at taking them. So like I avoid them like the plague, which is part of the reason I got into this field in the beginning because someone was trying to tell me I had to take 50 million supplements. So then you walk around and you've got the supplement case or you've got the pill case, right? And you don't necessarily need both. I think the only capsule I take is my omega. That is the only one that I actually take that is in pill form. And when you're trying to heal your gut, you may need some probiotics, you may need some prebiotics, you may need some digestive enzymes. And while you might need them in the short term, that's not necessarily a long-term solution. So what you're going to look for is how can you supplement your gut health with your food, with herbs, with spices. Because people look at herbal medicine and they're like, oh, that's the teas, that's the tinctures, that's the this. Yeah, go down your spice aisle. That's herbal medicine. Every bit of it, from the chocolate to the nuts to the oils to all those spices you see. It is all herbal medicine. The baking soda, the baking powder, it all can be classified as herbal medicine. You don't have to delve so deep into herbal medicine that you forget that really all you need to do is make some really good food, add the spices and the oils and the good stuff to make it taste really good so that you enjoy the food that you're eating. And that can help you maintain balance. One of the top healing herbs when you're fighting colds, especially during cold and flu season, oregano. Oregano infused oils. Number one. Tastes absolutely nasty if you taste it, like if you take it right away, and it's very potent. But pasta dishes, pizza, things that use oregano, salad dressing. The best Italian dressing that I've ever had is oil, vinegar, oregano, and a little Dijon, because, spice. But oil, vinegar, and oregano. And that is your Italian salad dressing. Our body gets wiped out, just wiped out when it's trying to gain nutrients from food that we're eating and it's not finding what it needs. It will overwork itself to produce those things from what you're giving it. It's our protective mechanism. So when you focus on programs, or when you're provided a program that says, okay, well, you take these supplements. Oh, and by the way, you need this nutrition plan, right? This diet. Oh, and you need to do this exercise. Oh, and let's add in the mindset too. I mean, in reality, are you really going to do all of those things, or are you going to do them for a few days, feel overwhelmed, and then give it up? And then now you feel defeated. You feel like this is never going to get better. And reality, from our perspective, you just need to change up some of the spices in your food. You need to change some of the things that you're eating for a few weeks so that you can get on a healthier path, so we can get your subconscious to crave the foods that your gut is really, truly asking for. It all comes back to that food log, the food, the symptom, and the emotion log. When we know what's happening, we know what we need to add. We're not taking things away initially. We never take things away right away. That takes a couple of weeks, actually. The way that our programs usually work, week 1 is prep. We get everything set, ready to go. We get things nailed down. We go through questions you might have about the programs that we have, or any suggestions we make during your initial consultation, so that when you start your practice week, which is week 2, there's room for improvement, because we don't know how your body's going to respond, but based on your log, we see these things are missing. So let's add these things in, and let's play a little brain game with your body and your brain. Because here's the thing, when you add things in that your gut is asking for, then it doesn't leave room for those things that make you sick. So now it doesn't want those things, it wants these things that you just gave it. It's a brain game. It's all a brain game, you guys. And hydration comes along with it. So hunger, cravings for sugary foods, craving for salty foods, craving for chocolate, those can all come from dehydration. The little known fact that dehydration doesn't necessarily mean that the only thing you're going to feel is thirst. Dehydration comes up with a lot of different things. For those of you out there saying that you hate the taste of water, right here, you need water. You get it from food. You can infuse things into your water. This one has ice cubes and I think, peppermint. Today is peppermint. Yesterday was lemon. Day before was lime. The day before that was lemon and cucumber. There's always something in my water. And now they have teas out. They have a tea that the boys love, and it's all dried berries. And you literally make a cup of tea, let it infuse for 3 to 4 minutes, pour it over ice. Water with flavor, none of the sugar, none of the artificial sugars. You don't need to buy anything else that's going to cost you an extreme amount of money, because like these little packets, you need these little packets so you can drink your water. No, you just need food. And let's say you've cut the tops off your strawberries. You cut the tops off of your cucumbers, or you peel your cucumbers. That can be used to infuse your water. And one of the things I know KJ and I wanted to talk to you guys about is, how much water do you drink? There's so much out there. So much out there. So our general rule of thumb is half your body weight in water. And I think I'm gonna let KJ take it from here, because I know she usually has a lot to say about this.
So that's kind of a rule of thumb, and it works better for some people than others. And it's like a lot of the things that you see that had a scientific basis to start, and people have run with it. Now, what we do is we work with individuals. We aren't making suggestions for, what is it, 4.8 billion people? I don't know how many people are in the world anymore. My sidekick will look it up for me and tell me though. But if you are a 300-pound guy and we say to cut your body weight in half and drink that many ounces of water, it's 150 ounces of water. Almost 8 billion people now, right? So 150 ounces of water. If you think about how much water that is, it can be a lot. Especially if you're thinking like from day one, oh, I've got to have this much water. If you go from, you maybe work through a cup or two of water in a day and you have 150 ounces of water, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to be cussing whoever you think told you this because you're going to be peeing a lot. You're going to be up all night. The other thing you have the risk of doing if you keep doing that until your body adjusts and you adapt what you're eating, you run the risk of hyponatremia, which is washing out the sodium in your system. Ask me how I know how miserable hyponatremia is because I was given watered down Gatorade while I did a 3-day walk to raise money for breast cancer research. Did I get a fun ambulance ride? Yes, I did. Did I finish the walk? No, I didn't, because I was following the guidelines of how much water to drink and alternating with Gatorade, but their Gatorade was watered down. So I was getting four waters to one Gatorade, and I washed my system completely out. To this day, my sodium level is low every single time I get my blood work done. So 80 ounces is still a lot of water, and that's still a big number, but you can get it from your food. You get a lot of water from your food. If you like, it's this time of year, the vegetables and fruits that we're getting this time of year, they're juicy. Juicy is water. Watermelon, cucumbers, summer squashes. Winter squashes are not water, but summer squash, any of the vegetables that if you cook them and they disappear when you cook them, they disappear because all the water is gone. Those are sources of water. Work with us and let us look at what you're used to and what you've got going on in your world and what you're eating, and we'll help you come up with a good number. Just the habit to have really is like, Bonnie, just have it at hand. Have it right there. Make it so that it's convenient and you don't have to think about it. If you're trying to drink your water, kind of like you're trying to remember to take your supplements, that may not be a sustainable way to come at things. Um, if it's always right there, and hey, that's a bonus of ADHD, there's always at least two things next to me to drink. Um, usually three. Um, caffeine, flavor, and hydration. But just having it right there means that it just is a reflexive reaction. Um, and really, it goes along with being hungry. If you stop paying attention to the signals that your body gives you, your body doesn't trust you with signals. It's kind of like if you ignore somebody trying to get your attention long enough, they will learn to not trust that you will respond when they need you. So keep that flowing on a regular basis and pay attention to any of the signals that you might have. Honestly, we talk about poop a lot, but really look at your pee. If you can see your pee, you might need a little more clear liquids. You might need a little more unsweetened tea, which Bonnie knows how I feel about that. But I can do it. I just think that it's sad. Um, but if you can see your pee, if you can smell your pee, let's think about finding ways, go eat some more watermelon, go eat some cherries, go eat some peaches, go eat some cucumbers. I keep I'm old. I have ice cube trays, and when lemons are on sale, I juice them and I put that in the ice cube trays and I freeze it solid. And then when they're done, they're in a Ziploc in the fridge. So my freezer right now has lime juice, lemon juice, and watermelon juice cubes. So that cold thing that I'm putting in my cold water is the flavor. Is is that essence of whatever it is. I know you don't like watermelon, but it's, it's for you. It's watermelon juice is is the unsweet tea of my world. But it's there, and it's summertime, and all the ice is going to melt. I might as well make it flavorful. It's just something fun to do for those days that my brain's like, wow, I can really taste the water in this water, or I can taste the sodium in this water, or whatever super taster I've got going on. But my kids never had anything with red food coloring in it until they were old enough to be somewhere where I wasn't picking. Not because I was a great mom in the 90s. Do not be fooled. Or the 2000s. Red dye stains everything. But my kids can taste it. So we don't have red things because they never had it, so they can taste it. So, water, yes. Do you need to be the gym bro with, your weight belt on your gallon of water? Probably
All I could think is
Oh,
your
no,
stance.
Stanleys are cool. I'm telling you, these guys at the gym, they would come in, and the girls especially, they would come in. They make neoprene wraps to go around your gallon of water to keep it cool, and it's got pockets to hold your chapstick, your keys, and your cell phone. These people are walking into the gym with a gallon of water that they're drinking in the time span that they're standing in the gym. So
Oh,
they're pounding down a gallon of water in an hour or
yeah.
not or 90 minutes.
Yeah, guys, don't do that. Don't don't make me come find you in a gym.
Like,
Don't.
please don't make me do the paperwork that's gonna happen when you pass out. Like,
Yeah.
balance. It's
Oh,
it's balance.
yeah.
Don't have stinky pee. Don't flush out your entire system. Just stay. Find the medium. Get
Yeah.
there. Yeah, and that's what we do. We'll help you get there. But yeah, just don't think that Wow, I'm starting this new thing, so I need to. Please don't.
Yep. Nope. Nope. That kind of
No.
brings us to kind of wrapping this thing up is balance is the key.
Yep.
We've given you 3 suggestions. Do your food log. Go ahead and do some visualizations. Figure out supplementation, figure out your hydration. Those are your 3 suggestions. If one struck a nerve, perfect. Do that one thing. You don't have to do everything perfect. That's not what this is about. One of the
Nope.
reasons we are so successful with everything that we do is we meet people where they're at and we help them walk through a slow, steady process. This is not quick. You got to live the rest of your life as healthy as possible to live the life you want to live. So why not make it count? And rather than rushing through everything and missing things, take the things that make sense to you right now, start there. Come into our community, book your one-on-one chat. We've got 7 people.
Right?
Yeah,
Done. Yay.
7. Dawn is actually joining us for yoga. We've got our membership coming up, which you guys will hear all about on Thursday. And among 7 of us, if you don't want to talk to me, you can talk to KJ, you can talk to Kate, you can talk to Sam, Jill, you can talk to any of us. And we will take that food log and we'll help you figure out your next steps. Or we'll chat with you about what you're experiencing with your supplements, things that you spot when you took just one of these suggestions. So I hope all of these tips were actionable for you. I hope you got some gold nuggets out of this. start there. I'm going to open the floor up for Q&A, and I hope we see you guys inside of Wild Free Health or inside of a conversation. You will see the link to book that down in the show notes. You know how this all works. And beyond that, thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited to have you join us in the community and to join us on your next steps on your health and healing journey. And hopefully we get
Absolutely.
to witness part of that because we love that kind of stuff. So, thank you guys for joining us.
Peace.